John, one quick one. I see in the back of you the Zachman.com, right? So that's the only website that you own.
Yeah.
You don't own ZachmanInternational.com.
No, I don't own Zachman International. Somebody else owns ZachmanInternational.com. That's the name of my company, but I am not there. And the only website I have anything to do with or have any input into is Zachman.com. As Sunil mentions, my name is on other websites in the domain names, but I am not there. The only one I have anything to do with is Zachman.com.
John, it's been great. If you could share 2 or 3 things which you feel is people who wants to pursue their career in the enterprise architecture, two or three things which you would recommend.
Well, I believe that I wrote an article in 1999, Enterprise Architecture, the Issue of the Century. I argued in the article, the enterprise that can accommodate the concepts of enterprise architecture will have the opportunity to stay in the game. And the enterprise that cannot accommodate the concepts of architecture is not going to be in the game. And I actually believe that, and right now we see a lot of enterprises falling out of the game, whether they're private sector, public sector, big, small. The game is really a complex and difficult and stress-producing game, and the game is really like the game. It's like a sudden death kind of a game. So my own opinion is every enterprise is going to have to do enterprise architecture at some point in time, no matter who it happens to be, and they're just not going to be viable in the kind of environment we're moving into here. So the best thing to do is to begin to acquire that kind of capability. And I think those of us who have an inclination to do architecture kind of work, it's engineering kind of work. You probably don't, everybody is not inclined to do that, but anybody who has any inclination to do engineering kind of work, enterprise engineering is the focal point of the next several hundred years. I believe that architecture, product architecture, complex product architecture was the focal point for the industrial age. If somebody hadn't figured out what architecture was relative to buildings, airplanes, and locomotives and so on, we would not have what we have today. So, and I think it's the enterprise is the focal point for the foreseeable future. I don't know, 100 years or maybe more. I don't know. But that is one place that it would be useful to be, and I would do everything I can to begin to acquire capability and understanding of that. And I would argue, I have written a lot of things, and I've made a lot of presentations, and not to be self-serving, but you can start there, just start looking at this. And Sunil and I have done workshops all over the world. We've done workshops, and Sunil, he has a heart for this subject too, and he has helped me to give this away as well. So, there are ways to begin to acquire capabilities, acquire understanding, acquire knowledge, and then you got to do some practice. You never get really good at anything. Sunil makes this point. You have to do something about 20 times before you get good at it. Well, you got to roll up your sleeves and start working on it. And I would say there's nothing keeping anybody from doing enterprise architecture. Even if you just look at my framework, you better study it a little bit. You can build these models. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. We can begin to produce architectural representations and practice the employment of it. And while we're doing it, we can make a lot of contributions in the short term by solving general management problems. That would be really helpful to the enterprise and helpful to our own experience. I think we just got to roll up our sleeves and do it. Now, Sunil, I'm in India at the moment. He told me to tell what I usually say at the end of the seminar. I usually make a quote of Indira Gandhi. One time I understand that Indira Gandhi said, my grandfather told me one time there were 2 kinds of people, those who do the work and those who take the credit. He told me to try to be in the first group because there's less competition there. So with that thought, I would say roll up your sleeves and do some work. You know, there's places to go to learn, and then I would just begin to do it. I would work it. I don't know, maybe I should say one more thing. Peter Chen made the observation that, you know, when you start thinking you're the one that's wrong and everybody else is right, then you want to persist. Keep working on it, because, you know, in the end, you know, the laws of nature, the truth will prevail. So that's my idea. I'm going to keep working on it. I figure I got at least another 20 years or so. So I'm
Definitely,
not giving up.
definitely, John. And I think thanks on that happy note. I think thank you very much and for your time. I know you just saw this conversation with the living legend John Zachman, the man behind the discipline of enterprise architecture the world is swearing. So thanks for your time, and I hope you get some time to visit Zachman.com, read what he has to tell us, understand the applications of what he has for us, and my experience for last 15 years is that it just works. It has worked for me. It has worked for most of my customer, and I'm very confident that it'll work for you as well. So thank you very much, and hope to see you guys again. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Sunil.